I pointed out in a couple of videos already of the all the sudden friendships that we see Vladimir Putin having, people coming over to play. We had Kim Jong-un over in Russia hanging out with Putin. We had President Xi over in Russia hanging out with Putin. All the players are hanging out with Putin. And recently they have found on battlefields in Ukraine actual weaponry, missiles and stuff, with parts that are actually sanctioned. They're parts that certain people aren't allowed to get. And it could be something simple. I mean, these parts that are sanctioned could be, microchips for a dishwasher that happens to be able to be used in the guidance system of a missile. Things like that. But it's the pieces that are analyzed are coming from a North Korean company that turns out to be a shell company for Kim Jong-un, and so they will buy the sanctioned things, and they're basically working with Russia to create these weapons. That discovery got me thinking about the likelihood that Russia's not just getting weapons from these people as well. So I've been searching different areas, and there's a story that just came out in England trying to tell United States intelligence that there is evidence that China is actually supplying Russia with frontline weapons and components for weapons, that there's evidence. And it's somehow being used not only in Ukraine but also in Israel. So there's a lot going on with this and the tie-in. So if we go back to the random meetings that were just blurbs in the news cycle, if noticed at all, like the day after Comey was fired, when Donald Trump had Sergei Lavrov in the Oval Office and with the number 2 biggest spy in Russia, the day after, those little tiny things that there was no American media allowed in the room, but Russian state media posted a picture of it, and that's how we ended up finding out that it was going on. Putin meeting with Kim Jong-un, the dictator, of Hungary at Mar-a-Lago with President Trump the day before his bond is due in one of his court cases. Then all of a sudden he magically comes up with the money. Viktor Orban. And now he's in rallies talking about Viktor Orban and Vladimir Putin and President Xi and basically dictator and being a king. His mouthpieces are coming out and saying, yeah, you know what? Donald Trump as the king is what we need in this country, and his kids are the perfect way to launch the monarchy of the United States. Donald Trump and his kids should be running the United States with no rules. Are you freaking kidding me? His kids got $2 billion from the Saudis. No arguments proven. I mean, that alone should throw doubt somewhere. The problem is everything on the big picture in this world is leaning towards a whole bunch of countries really working hard to put Donald J. Trump back into office. Now think about the consequences of what would happen on the world stage. We know he's in bed with Russia. We know he loves Vladimir Putin. We know he loves Xi Jinping. He loves these dictators. He loves, little Kim. We have a very special relationship. I love him. He's my brother. And then you find out he stole $20 million from him. You look at all that stuff, and you start putting these little pieces together on things that are unfolding across the world. The Ukrainian invasion, Hamas attacking Israel. What people don't realize is Benjamin Netanyahu supported Hamas in a number of different ways. So he kind of kept that going. I'll be doing a deep dive video on that as well. But he was part of the reason why Hamas was still functioning before the attack. And I believe personally the reason he wanted Hamas in the picture is because he knew eventually they'd get attacked and all that other stuff, and what better excuse to have than Hamas getting a hold of all the Israeli defense secrets from a very willing president to help out people like Vladimir Putin and people like that, and the Saudi prince and Jing and Little Kim and all those buddies and Orban. This is a guy that literally is going to the heads of oil companies and saying, give me $1 billion, you can write your own laws. There's an investigation that Jamie Rapskin demanded from these oil companies the paperwork and the regulations that Donald Trump's going to put into place when he gets in office. This is the guy running for president of the United States. He has Russia, he has Saudi Arabia, he has China, he has North Korea, he has all of our favorites attacking countries like Ukraine. China apparently helped this whole thing with Ukraine. Tie-ins with Israel and being part of actually what happened as an excuse to wipe out the Palestinian people. They've been waiting for an excuse to commit the atrocities that they're committing. They set it up. They were working on it already. They wanted Hamas there, Hezbollah and everyone else. The more dangers, the more excuses they have to bomb the hell out of Gaza. And they got their excuse, October 7th. And not that it wasn't a tragedy, it was a tragedy, and it never should have happened, and they had the right to retaliate. But what they did not have the right to do is tell the Palestinian people, the innocent Palestinian people, the people who don't like Hamas just as much as everyone else doesn't like Hamas, that he had an excuse to go through them as an excuse to get to Hamas. And he's not done yet. The stories from behind the scenes are beyond war crimes, beyond evil. The things that are happening to the Palestinian people is horrifying, as is the things that are happening to the Ukrainian people. We can't keep sending money blindly. But if it's between Ukraine and Israel, it's Ukraine all day long. I believe in the Israeli people. I don't believe in their leader. He is committing war crimes. This is an act of genocide. It's not a religious statement. It's not anything against the Bible, or it's not anything against the allies. Our allies are our allies. Just like sometimes they'll look at America and say, boy, I wish they did that differently. We are looking at them with the same thoughts. When are we going to realize the big picture in all this is beyond our presidency, beyond who's in the White House next? There is a bigger picture going on that American media, most media, doesn't pay much attention to. I stumble across things and I keep digging. I'm going to find out more. I'll get it to you as I find out, as best clear as information as I can find. If you have any suggestions of how to find more, let me know. I love to research. So please, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to the big picture here. And we need to make sure, no matter what, we don't make this any easier. And the most important step in that happening is making sure Donald J. Trump does not have a second crack at the White House. Then we could start fixing the other problems, even if you don't like Joe Biden. Even if you don't want to betray the Republican vote you've had your entire life. This is not the Republican Party. Donald Trump is not a Republican president. He's not a president in any way, shape, or form. He bullshitted his way into a job, like he always has. And now all of our enemies are getting together. Stay diligent. Stay educated and be kind. We are all in this together, and our vote will affect the rest of this world for the rest of its existence. This one vote. And I'm not kidding.